Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter still owes him respect regardless of the situation. All right? That's the argument that I'm putting forward today. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. My name is Fitz from fatherflex.com. Thank y'all for tuning in and watching. It's been a crazy last 24, 48 hours with this whole Dr. Umar Johnson thing. For those of you who have not been paying attention, Dr. Umar Johnson, school psychologist, has recently been making the rounds because he has a daughter, 22 years old, that's come out of nowhere on TikTok and called him pretty much a deadbeat dad, said he hasn't been in her life. And on top of that, went on to say several disrespectful things about Dr. Umar Johnson. And I made a couple videos about this. And to my surprise, I was getting a lot of backlash. About this. And I simply said, Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter was wrong. Hold up, we got the green screen on here. I said Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter was wrong. And the reason I said Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter was wrong is because I'm one of those people that think you always owe your parents respect, regardless. I'm a father. I have my dad in my life, have my mom in my life. I'm just somebody who thinks that you always owe your parents respect. I don't think that they owe you anything for you to be able to have to respect them. I don't think they have to give you the nicest clothes and give you the nicest upbringing. I don't even think they have to be in your life. I think simply because they are your parents, you owe them respect. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that disagree with this, and I'm open to have the dialogue and the conversation. And in another live, if y'all want to do this, we can dive deeper in where I have people come up on the show and we hash it out, debate, whatever. But for this conversation, let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. If you're watching, hit the like button. Let's push this video out to more people. So let's get into it. Why do I believe that as a child, as just someone who has a parent, you always owe your parents respect regardless of what they do? I believe that for the simple fact that you would not be here without your parents. That whatever you want to say, regardless of how they raised you, regardless of whatever's going on, if you are breathing, if you are alive, if you are a person who can sit around and talk about you don't owe your parents respect, understand that you would not even be able to do that without your parents. Think about that for a second. Without your parents, you wouldn't even be able to disrespect them. So you're only allowed to disrespect them because they had you to begin with. So at least be respectful that you can disrespect them. That's my perspective. You wouldn't even be able to disrespect the parents that you don't like so much if it weren't for them. And when I say these things, people get upset because I think that there's a warped perception of what respect is. I think there's a warped perspective of what respect is. It's been sensationalized. It's been romanticized. It's been, you got to do something for me and then I got to do something for you. And is this even exchange? To me, that's not respect. Here's what I'm talking about when it comes to respect. For me, when I say that you should always respect your parents, what I'm saying is you should be cordial to them. You should be respectful to them. You should, I'm not necessarily saying worship the ground that they walk on, but you should move with a certain sense of appreciation for your parents, if not just for the fact you're alive. We got Sean in the building. What up, Sean? Sean says, my father wasn't around, but I'd never disrespect him. That man gave me life. Exactly. And understand this, I'm not being apathetic to anyone's struggle. I'm not being ignorant of the fact that there are just some shitty parents. There are just some crappy parents out there. They weren't in your life. They neglected you. They did all of these things. But guess what? If you woke up today, understand that it's because of them. Without them, you would not even be able to wake up and disrespect them. Without them, you would not even be able to wake up and look at the kids that you're raising better because of the mistakes that they made. Without them, you would not even be able to get online and talk. Like without Dr. Umar Johnson, his daughter would not be able to have gotten online and disrespected him. And I'm not even talking about the fact that she's blowing up because of his name and because she's his daughter. I'm saying he gave her life. And there has to be a certain fundamental level of respect for that. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people that miss what I'm saying, and they're going to say that I'm a Dr. Umar D writer. They're going to say I'm glazing Dr. Umar. Just go look at some of my other videos that I just made about this topic. They're saying I'm a hater. They're calling me a deadbeat. There are people calling me a deadbeat because I'm saying Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter should respect him. That makes me a deadbeat. But guess what? I understand that there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of trauma and there's a lot of people that didn't grow up with the right parent figures and they didn't grow up with the right role models. I understand that. And maybe I'm a bit biased because I grew up with my dad, I grew up with my mom, I grew up with a lot of siblings, and we were very close. So maybe I'm a little biased. But when I sit back and I analyze the situation and I think about, what are the things that you should be grateful for? At minimum, you should be grateful for the people that brought you into this world, whether they did anything for you or not. Because, and understand this, we're not even talking about a situation with Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter where there was abuse or there was anything like that. Now, I know that people are going to say, well, he wasn't there, and that's a form of abuse, that's a form of neglect. I get it. But what I'm saying is this. If you're going to walk around as an adult and you're going to sit there and think that your parents owe you something, then you have life greatly mistaken. If you are one of these people as an adult that think that your parents owe you anything, a conversation, money, anything, an explanation, you have life greatly mistaken. Because, and I want people to truly understand this. I want you to truly understand this. In no other area of life do you get that type of explanation, that type of understanding. It is what it is. And there is no greater thing that has happened to you than you being born. No greater thing. Like if somebody, imagine this. Imagine you were walking down the street and someone came out with a gun and they tried to shoot you and a complete stranger jumped in front of the bullet and took the bullet for you. For the rest of your life, I guarantee you would feel like you owed that person. You would feel like you owed that person and you'd be indebted to that person. That person could spit in your food and you'd be like, you know what? You spit in my food. I'm not happy about it, but you the reason I'm alive. That means something. But people just want to throw their parents away because they didn't have the perfect upbringing, because they didn't have the perfect life, because their parents weren't in their lives as much as they should have been. And I get it. I'm sympathetic. I don't want to say empathetic because I didn't go through that, but I'm sympathetic to it. At the same time, if you ever plan on having children of your own, understand that one day they're going to confront you with things that you don't like. And are you going to keep that same energy? Are you going to keep that same energy? So we got some comments. It said, I coach 13 U boys, and that's part of our practice. 1 to 2 hours a week, I have them understand the value of their parents and how parental disrespect will not be tolerated. If their mom says Lil Jalen was disrespectful to her, Lil Jalen won't be playing in the game Saturday. Hey, I'm with it. I'm with it. Real quick, hit the like button. If you're in the stream, hit the like button. Let's get this video out to more people. Share it if you can. Hit the like button real quick if you are in the stream. Subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel. But I'm with it. I think that parental respect is down in 2025. I really do. I think parental respect is down in 2025. And the reason I think that is down in part is because there's this misconception out there that parents and children are on the same level. Misconception out there that parents and children are on the same level. Your kids can now tell you they're a boy when they're a girl. Your kids can now tell you what's good for them. This last election, we saw that they were interviewing children and talking about politics and what do you want to see in the world, and they were making it seem like children were the authority figures. And I think we've lost the sense of just common sense when it comes to parents are parents, children are children. That's the way it's always been. And there's a certain level that a parent's on that a child will never be on with their parent. I don't care how old you get. I don't care how old you get. You will never be on the same level of as your parent, for the simple fact that without them, you would not exist. Without you, they would exist, but without them, you would not exist. And that has to be sacred, and there has to be certain boundaries that we set. Should she be able to express herself, and Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter, should she be able to express herself and feel her feelings and be valid in that? Yes. But those are conversations that you have offline with your dad or your friends or your mom or people close to the situation. That's not something that you do online to go, and I know she's saying she doesn't want attention, she doesn't want anything from this, but I also saw that she pinned that video to her TikTok. When you pin the video to your TikTok, what that means is that when people go to your page, that's the video that's going to show up. It's at the top. It's going to show up. So even if you make new content, that video is still going to be at the top. She's tagging him and stuff or whatever, or putting him in the hashtags. So part of it makes me believe that this wasn't just so she could find her sister. This wasn't just so she could, quote unquote, have a conversation with her. There's more to it. And this is another thing. This is another thing that as a parent, you have to understand that we live in a digital age, and that the days of what happens in the household stays in the household, or what happens in the family stays in the family, those days seem like they're in the rearview mirror. Those days seem like they're in the rearview mirror because everyone wants to get online and they want to talk about their family's problems. They want to talk about what's going on. And here's the crazy part. And I'm just going to be real. If I wasn't on here trying to monetize this, if I wasn't on here creating content because I love making content and I love giving my perspective on things and interacting and debating with people and figuring out new ways to do things and looking at the world from a different perspective, y'all would never see me on here. Y'all would never see me on here. I think that the internet in general, like social media, is really boring if you're not on here trying to make money, or if you're not on here trying to learn something. All of the entertainment parts of it are like very boring. And so I talk about these things because they're related to what I'm doing in my businesses. They're related to what I'm doing when it comes to content. And of course, I'm going to be monetizing my content and things like that. So that's why I react to these things and why I talk about them. But understand that if you're just Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter and you go online and make a video about Dr. Umar Johnson, people only care about you because you're Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter. They don't care about your other content. They don't care about you. They don't care about if you ever have a relationship with your dad, which I know you say you don't want, but I just can't believe that that's not true. There's a lot of pain, and it seems like there's a lot of anger behind what you're saying and your behavior. And I think that when push comes to shove, you want a relationship with him, you may not know how to have it with him. And that brings me to another point. If you are a grown adult and you're going through what Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter is going through, which it sounds like she's going through the process of processing her trauma when it comes to not having her father in her life. She texted him and didn't get a response in a timely fashion, and so then she went on the internet and exposed their family business. That doesn't sound like good emotional regulation. If you don't want to crash out like Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter did, and you have a bad relationship with your parents or whatever, here's what I want you to do. I want you to forgive them, and I want you to let go. I want you to forgive them, and I want you to let go. Because many people believe that if they just hate their parents, if they just don't mess with their parents, that it's just going to all go away. It's all going to go away, and that they're going to show their parents. I'll show them. I won't speak to them. I'll show them I'm going to have kids and not bring the kids around them. I'll show them. But guess what? All you're doing is pushing your trauma down the line, down the line, down the line. And you're more likely to repeat those same behaviors that you don't like in your parents with your own children if you don't address the problems that you have with your parents. So even if it's for selfish reasons, I think you should just forgive your parents. I'm not saying you have to have a good relationship with them. And when I say a good relationship, that means that you ain't got to go see them every week. You ain't got to call them all the time. But at least be on terms to where if you saw them in the same room, you wouldn't want to punch them. At least be on those terms. At least be on those terms, because here's the thing. Many people's parents die and they have a bad relationship with them. And they never get to say that thing that they were saying, or they're waiting for their parents to reach out. Imagine that. You're waiting for another human being before you can heal. You're waiting for another human being before you can heal, but you don't care. Oh, we're going to talk about it. You don't care what your parents think, but anytime somebody brings them up in a positive way, you're in your feelings about it. Now, fuck them. They're this, they're that, but you don't care. What other people don't you care about that you're that emotional about? Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. Especially men. We have to address this as men. Men who did not grow up with their father understand that you still, on a certain level, seek that masculine energy. And when you don't get that masculine energy, you may not know how to channel your own. And so things that you're not even aware of, they come out in different ways that you may not like. So we got some comments that said, that's a fact. My dad died December 2020. Even though he wasn't there for me, I was by his side. I let this ish go. None of my other brothers came to the hospital. None of them came to the funeral. Not me. And that was before I had a kid, let alone son. Now that I have a son, I'm telling him all the good stories about his papa. Exactly. Like, that shows, to me, that shows growth. It shows growth. It shows growth because, you know, there's never going to be a perfect parent. There's never going to be a perfect parent. And what I don't think people realize is that when you become an adult, it's no longer just about you. You have to start making decisions for your wife. If you're a man, you have to start making decisions for your children. And one of those include being the type of parent that is healing and that is healed and that addresses their own trauma. Because the last thing that you want is to take those things out on your own children. And I'm telling you, if you don't listen to anything else that I'm trying to say, what I'm telling you is if you have a bad relationship with your parents, you are likely going to pass that on to your children, and you are likely going to take it out on your spouse. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Am I missing something? I'm missing something. If you're just tuning in, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We talk about critical thinking on here, parenting, relationships, health, wellness, all that stuff. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. But I'm really starting to be in a place in my life where I'm more selfish. I'm more selfish. And what that means for me is that pride oftentimes can rob us from our own blessings. Pride can rob us from our own blessings. And so you think that by ignoring your parents or by talking bad about them or never solving the problem or looking at them from a very narrow perspective in the worst way possible and making it all about you, that you're doing yourself a service when you're not. You should be selfish. If you are selfish, then you'd want to forgive your parents. You'd want to move forward with your life, if not just for your own sake. If not for your own sake. Because now, let's look at Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter. She got online. She was trying to create content before she did all this. But now all anyone's going to ever know her for is being Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter that disrespected him. That's what she's going to be known for. And we can pretend that, oh, she stuck it to him and stuff. Listen, there are a lot of people out here that are just happy because Dr. Umar Johnson is going through some drama and they don't like him. Let's be real. Let's be real. If you're a dad or you're a parent, you know you would not appreciate your child, whatever the situation is, getting online, talking about y'all personal family business. You wouldn't appreciate it. Not appreciate it. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section, because I find it very interesting how people will hold other people to the fire, but not themselves. People will hold other people to the fire, but not themselves. We got Rez Dog. Rez Dog said, at the end of the day, the experienced person should have led by example. He let an inexperienced person bring him down to that level. He could have deaded it quick. Now, what I will say is this, right? To be fair, Dr. Umar did respond. He responded to his daughter, and he addressed the issue. Do I feel like he said anything disrespectful? No, I don't. And I know there are a lot of people that will say, well, why would you ever talk about your daughter online? Why would you ever do this? Why would you ever do that? I'm not one of these people, and understand this. I'm not one of these fathers that believes that your children should just be able to do whatever they want to you and you should just take it. I'm not one of those fathers. So what I say is this. If you're old enough to go online and talk about your parents, you're old enough for your parents to be able to say something back about you online. Plain and simple. If you're old enough to turn a camera on, to be typing the caption, I'm Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter. If you're old enough to hit the record button and be making the face, I'm his daughter, you're old enough for that man to talk about you. Right? Like when I was growing up, I used to hear, if you're old enough to talk like an adult, you're old enough to get the consequences like an adult. If you're old enough to do this, then you're old enough for that. So it's like we have to also hold people accountable. She's 22 years old. She decided to turn the camera on and air out her family's business. And now she has to live with the consequences of that. She has to, and here's the other thing. She says that she had her stepfather in her life from the time she was a kid. And so for me, it's like, what did you learn? Because I can't see how your parents look at this, her mom and then her stepdad look at this and feel like that was respectful. At the end of the day, I think that family issues should stay family issues. It should be addressed offline. Even with people that I know, when I see them airing out their family drama online, it's just messy, it's distasteful, and ultimately, families are complex units, and, families go through stuff. But that stuff should stay offline, in my personal opinion. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Sean says, I have a clause in my trust that if my son does something to disparage the family name, he'll be removed from the trust. He will be removed from the trust. He can definitely talk crazy about me. Hey, I'm not mad at it. And this is but not with my resource. And this is another thing as well. Hit the like button. We got some people in the stream. Hit the like button right now if you were in the stream. Come on, let's get them likes up so that the algorithm pushes this video out. Hit the like button. It's a Saturday. I'm on here. Just hit the like button. You about to have me sound like Dr. Umar Johnson. Hit the Cash App. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Let's get some likes up in here. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video. Let's get some likes. But this is an interesting point. This is a very interesting point. We have a bunch of adult children. We have adult children who want to disparage their parents, but still want their parents to cash them out. They still want that money. I know adults who complain about the amount of money their parents give them. Y'all have to hear me. Let me straighten up. There are adults who complain about the amount of money their parents give them. They don't owe you. They don't owe you anything. If they want to give you something, that's fine. But they don't owe you. And I've heard of people talk about their deadbeat dads or their deadbeat parents, but then accept money from them. Not only accept money from them, call them and ask them for money. That ain't my dad. That's a deadbeat. That ain't. But then you call them when you need some money. You call them when you need some help. They're dead. Oh, well, you can't buy my love. Then don't accept my money. Don't accept my money then. Don't accept my money. Don't accept my time. Don't call me when when my grandkids need something. Do what you do. Do what you do. And so, as a father, and I want to know from y'all what y'all think about this. As a father, the only expectation that I have of my children is respect. You don't have to like me, but you will respect me. That's the only expectation. I don't expect you to take care of me when I'm older. I don't expect you to cash me out if I blow all my money. I don't expect you to take my side when I get in arguments with people. I don't expect any of that. You have no expectations of me except for respect. That's where you lose me. If you don't respect me, you're better off being a stranger on the street and getting some goodwill out of me. If you don't respect me, I don't care how long I've known you. I don't care if you're my child or not. That's it. If you don't respect me, the only exceptions that I make are for my parents and my grandparents. That's it. That's it. Those are the only exceptions I make. My parents and my grandparents. That's it. Because without them, I wouldn't be alive. So, no matter what I'm going through, there has to be a certain level of respect. But anybody else, the respect is a non-negotiable. You don't have to like me, but you will respect me. And so when I see people talking to me and complaining to me about, well, she shouldn't have to respect her dad, he's never been there for her. Keyword, her dad. Keyword, you wouldn't know who she was without her dad. Not just because he's famous, but because he gave her life. So there has to be a certain level of respect regardless. Because all that tough talk, all that, oh, well, he's this and he's that, you wouldn't be alive without him. So let's keep it real. Let's keep it respectful. Let's keep it respectful. And to these adult children that feel like their parents owe them, and they sit around and bitch and complain to their friends about how much their parents owe them, and they didn't do this and they didn't do that, and all of this other stuff, when like, I'll put it another way. Right? I don't even like saying things like this, but to me, especially with young girls who did not have their father in their life, you have to understand that men operate differently than women when it comes to children. Men operate differently when it comes to children. And I'm going to say this, I don't know the particular situation with Dr. Umar Johnson and his children or his baby mamas or anything like that. But what I will say is this. As a man, your main priority is to go out and provide. Go out, get the bag, bring the resources back. And so if you are a man who is going through trouble with their girl, with their baby mama, their wife, whatever, and the children are involved, understand, women, that as a man, we can only put so much energy into fighting you over these kids before we feel like, you know what? I've done what I can do. I'm going to focus on being the best man that I can be, because the court systems are against me. The mother is against me. And the child isn't old enough to understand what's going on. The child isn't old enough to understand what's going on. And this is not me making an excuse for Dr. Umar Johnson. He should be a part of his children's lives. He should be as good of a father as he can, and he should be held accountable. But what I am saying is, realistically, if you are dealing with a competent man, and you're dealing with a man that is about his business and is mission driven, purpose driven, understand that there's not that many things that can knock that man off of his purpose and his mission and his drive. And at a certain point, any competent man is going to be like, This hurts. I want to see my children. And at the same time, nobody is going to accept my sob story to pay rent. Nobody's going to accept my sob story or care that I can't see my children because of this, that, and the third. So I'm going to go out here and get it. And what I'm saying is, and I'm not even saying that that's right, but what I am saying is that on a certain level, I think that sometimes women will use kids against the father in hopes that that father will now act right. And when he doesn't act how you want, you say he doesn't love the children. But what it is that on a certain level, a man is only going to tolerate anything for so long before it's like, you know what? Bet. You know what? All right, cool. I'll endure this pain. I'll go without seeing my children. I'll be the bad guy. But I also have to go out here and make it happen. And so I think that there's a fundamental disconnect between men and women when it comes to what love even is for a child. What love even is for a child. Because here's the thing, and I'll say this because I'm a father, and I'll read some comments real quick. It says, my service cut out. Both are wrong, and it's about the principle of the situation. Umar should have been better, especially to a child, period. Anybody saying anything else compromises on their principles. I'll get to that. I think that when we're talking about principles, we have to be careful because anytime someone shares an opinion, that's not necessarily a principle. What I will say is that if you go online as a 22-year-old adult talking about a grown man, you should expect some smoke back. That's it. Should he have come on and said anything back to his daughter? I don't know. But what I will say is, as somebody that's in the public eye, not me necessarily like that, but I could see how somebody who has a reputation and a brand to protect, they're going to speak out against something. We Unlock Nation says, Umar will talk to his children so we can all stop the madness. Yes. Talk to your children. I'm all for Umar talking to his children. But I wanted to bring something else up. I was going somewhere. I think that we have to understand, yeah, that's where I was going. We have to understand how men and women, fathers and mothers, love their children differently. As a father, I'm not going to say that there was ever a time I didn't love my children, but there was definitely a time I didn't like them. Let me explain. That sounds crazy. I've always loved my children, but and it's not that I disliked them. Where I'm saying is like, for me, I look at it as my role and my responsibility to take care of my children. But in order for me to like somebody, I have to get to know them. And so as my children grow up and I see their personalities start coming out more, I begin to like them. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cute. That's funny. That's this. I begin to like them. But when they first come out and they screaming and they crying and they doing all this, it's like, bruh, come on. I love you. I'm going to pay the bills. I'm going to support this. I'm going to give you the diapers and stuff like that. But I don't know if I like you just yet. I'm going to have to see. We're going to have to see who you are and who you turn out to be. I don't know if I like you. And fundamentally, the way that I processed it was that, I looked at it and I said, there's the love there, but I wasn't delusional. And I see a lot of mothers with their children. They will make up anything about their kid so that they're liked. They will make up anything about their kids so that they like them, or that they're liked, or that they're seen in a favorable light. Oh, my kid is so smart. My kid is this. My kid is that. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I love you. I'm going to have to see if I like you, though. And here's the thing. If I don't like you, I would still take a bullet for you. If I don't like you, I will still die for you. I will still provide for you. I will still love you. But it takes time, I think, for men to like their children, just as human beings. That sounds crazy. I don't know if y'all agree with that, but that was my experience. I love y'all, but time will tell if I like y'all. And oftentimes, more than not, I think that women and children confuse the fact that men may not like them, or men are trying to figure out how to bond with them, as you don't love them. as you don't love them. And that's not right. That's not right. Someone said, agreed, Umar should have handled this situation better, but at the same time, she went on the internet and threw out dirty laundry. Now she's paying for it. Yeah, she's paying for it. And I don't think that she's paid fully for it yet. Because like I said, she was a content creator before this. She was a content creator before this. And now everyone's just going to know her as Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter who disrespected him. And if she ever gets interviews, all they're going to want to talk about is you're Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter. Tell us more information about your dad. More. Talk down about your dad. And that's a bad brand to have. Your brand is built around you talking crap about your dad. Congratulations. Let's give her a round of applause. You built a brand about talking down on your father. I mean, it's unfortunate. Do I wish that they had a better relationship? Sure. Do I think that it can still be salvaged? I don't know. But I don't think that this helped. I don't think it helped. And going... Yeah, so someone said, wait, she was on the internet before. Yes. If you go to her TikTok, her name is like Anissa. At Anissa, the GOAT, I think it is on TikTok. She was a content creator before. She's been creating content since around 2021, 2022. Just doing like little funny skits or doing like the TikToks and stuff like that, where she's doing like voiceovers and stuff like that. So she was creating content for a couple years now. And you can see the spike in views when it gets to the Dr. Umar stuff a couple days ago. But what I'm saying is like she was creating content before. She obviously wanted to make a name for herself. She could have come out a lot sooner and said that she's Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter. But she didn't for whatever reason. And it seemed like this was reactionary. On her TikTok, you can see where she says that she tried to message him. And you can see that the text messages show that he didn't necessarily not respond to her. He actually responded to her and was asking like, if you're my daughter, why are you messaging me from this weird iCloud number? Because it was a different number than what I guess he was used to. And so, yeah, she was definitely creating content, and now she's only going to be known for being Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter who badmouthed him. And once that dies down, no one's going to watch her content. No one's going to care about her. No one's going to mess with her because all you're here for is talking down about your dad. And the thing is like, if you resolve your issues with your dad, if you want to continue having a brand, you have to talk down about him. Unless she's smart enough to pivot and move towards something else, come out and just say, hey, this is a family matter. If y'all still want to rock with me, rock with me. I don't think she's going to do that. I think she's going to live off of this hype and build up whatever brand and following she can. Hopefully she's able to monetize it. I'm all for it. Make your money. Do what you got to do. Someone said, universal law is respect. You ain't got to like them. That comes with time. Time will tell who is on my side. She could have did way worse. It's levels to this. That was mid. Talking down on him is a reach. She was definitely talking down on him. She was talking about how, pretty much he's a deadbeat. She was talking about you supposed to be this activist and you supposed to be for the black community, but you not living it. It's like you taking little jabs and digs at somebody. Stick to the issue. You saying you on here just for your sister, to find your sister. Why you have to add all that extra stuff? Why do you have to add all that extra stuff? If it were me, let's say that Fitz's dad came back from the grave, right? He came back from the grave and we had issues. And I wanted to reach out to him and he wasn't messaging me back, which based on the text messages, he did message her back. But let's say that happened. My dad resurrected, comes back from the grave and we having issues. And I have a problem with him. And I say, I want him to respond to me. He's always on Facebook. He's always on there. I see the green bubble, and he's always on there. You know what? I'm going to go air out our personal business on Facebook so that he can respond to me. If it were me and I wanted to do it in a respectful way, one, I wouldn't go online because that's not respectful, and that's probably not going to get you the results. But if I were to go online and do it, I would say, hey, listen, my dad isn't responding to my text messages. I'm really concerned about him. I don't know what's going on. I just want to get in touch with my sister. So if you see this, sister, reach out to me and leave it at that. I ain't got to talk down on him. I ain't got to say this. I ain't got to say that. I could just leave it at that. What she did was on purpose. She understands, especially with her being a content creator, how this was going to blow up and how this is going to look. You can see just her pinning the video on her channel. She wants people to be able to come to it and notice her channel for that. Yeah, I think it was just very distasteful. I think it was messy. But overall, what I want to say about this conversation before I end it, because I know it is a Saturday and you have better things to do, is you always owe your parents respect. You always owe your parents respect, even if they don't give it to you. That's my perspective. Because without them, you wouldn't be here. And at very minimum, based on that, you wouldn't be able to disrespect them. You wouldn't even be able to disrespect them without them. So the least you can do is respect them. To Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter, I know you probably don't care, but if I were talking to you face to face, what I would say is don't post any more things about your dad on the internet. Reach out, try to build that relationship. If not for you, if you ever have kids, that's going to be important. If you can't and you don't feel like you can reach out and build that relationship, try to heal the best way that you can. Understand that it's a process. And when you get in your emotions and you get in your feelings and you feel like you have no outlet, you need to talk to somebody that you feel like can support you and that's not going to allow you or suggest that you go on the internet and badmouth your dad. I think that, and this reminds me of Eminem. I remember Eminem made countless songs about his wife and his mom. And I think he did an interview or he said something along the lines of, those songs make me sick now. Because here's the thing. As we evolve and grow in life and you're able to have more mature conversations and things like that, some of those older things that you did, it's a lot easier to move past if you don't have to constantly be reminded of them and shown them. This is on the internet forever. So if you ever do decide to build a relationship with your dad, you always have this stain on your record. Your children are going to be able to go look up how you disrespected their grandfather. And then guess what? There's going to be one day where you're sitting there with your kids and they're being disrespectful. And you say that you need to respect your parents. And what are they going to say? You don't respect yours. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you are still in the stream, why not hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. My name is Fitz. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you go check out fatherflex.com. Premium apparel for fathers who want to be healthy for their family. Like, comment, subscribe, support the channel. We are almost at 1,500 subscribers. Let's get there. I want to get there within the next month. Thank y'all for supporting the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll see y'all next time. I'm out.